General Clark, an Air Force Academy professor, wrote a Washington Post op-ed that she proudly teaches critical race theory at the Air Force Academy. I want to read to you some quotes from the leading proponents of this ideology, because I don't think Americans know truly how divisive and destructive this ideology is. One of them we have here: a positive white identity is an impossible goal. White identity is inherently, because of the skin color, apparently, is inherently racist. White people do not exist outside the system of white supremacy. This isn't 100, 200 years ago. This is today. This does not mean that we should stop identifying as white and start claiming to be some other type of race. To do so is to deny the reality of racism in the here and now. This isn't a way of thinking or a history class. This is present-day indoctrination. And this denial of that would be colorblind racism. So rather, this author strives to be less white and therefore less racially oppressive because of his privilege. That's from the author of White Fragility. General Clark, do you agree with that statement?
Sir, what I will tell you is you mentioned our instructor who talked about teaching.
It's currently still teaching at the Air Force Academy, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir. Who talked about teaching about critical race.
Do you agree with that statement? I only have 2 minutes left for the American people to ask you these questions.
Well, sir, I'd like to talk about your question about critical race theory and the instructor, if that's okay first.
Very quickly, please. But first, do you agree with that? I mean, you're the leader of the institution. There's faculty members on your staff. Do you agree with that type of sentiment?
Sir, I don't. That's not what she was espousing. She was not indoctrinating.
White Fragility is a leading book in the critical race theory mantra of books and thinking.
Yes, sir. She was encouraging the discourse on the topic, the civil discourse, so that our cadets could understand.
Would you encourage someone who says they're teaching white supremacy to have that discourse?
Sir, we encourage all civil discourse so that our cadets can learn how to think.
Right. At a Cal Berkeley, fine. But in an institution that's teaching our leaders to defend future military members, to die for civilian institutions that are being described as inherently racist and a class of people because of their skin color, that's offensive. That runs against your priorities.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. We're teaching critical thinkers, though, and we want our cadets.
Respectfully, that's racist thinking. But just
I'm not.
Just so that we're clear, this was a speaker that was at the Air Force Academy National Character and Leadership Ceremony, Dr. Eddie Glaude, that spoke to current day cadets. Every reckoning in the United States has carried with it betrayal. At every moment in which new America is on the verge of being reborn, the umbilical cord of white supremacy has been wrapped around the baby's neck, choking the life out of it. This was at a conference just last year. I think, again, this type of rhetoric, because we hear this from the other side as well. Of course we want to teach history. Of course we want equal opportunity for every American. This is divisive. This isn't what unifies us. So I just have one more question, and I'll throw it over to you, Admiral Buck. Do you have any empirical evidence? Do you have any data, for example, that shows that a submarine crew is more combat ready or effective because of the diversity mix, because of the different mix of, say, skin color? Mr. Chairman? No, I absolutely agree, but we don't see in many box checking, we're not looking for religious diversity or other types of diversity, or frankly, my wife who looks white, but she's 100% Arab. She doesn't have a box to check, but I would like to reclaim my time a few seconds just to ask the question, Mr. Chairman, for the interruption.
We'll try to do another round of questions later, and we'll have an opportunity to do that.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I hope we have an environment here where we don't interrupt other members.
I completely agree, and I caution all members to respect each other's time.